Hello, everybody. Welcome back to sorry. Welcome back to the Power Shift Podcast, episode 6, if I am correct. Episode 6, I'm pretty sure. And in this episode, we're going to be ranting about what farming looks like in real life versus on the internet. Now, people say on the internet, "Oh, farming, it's dirty, disgusting, and all that stuff." Well, you can get a little dirty, but I mean, it's not that bad. It's not disgusting. I mean, that's good to get your hands dirty every once in a while. I mean, you don't want to be like, you can just take a shower and get all the dirt off. I mean, yeah, you get dirty and you're dirty for maybe an hour or two. And one thing is, farming is too expensive. That is kind of true. If you guys didn't know, a brand new John Deere X9 combine can cost up to almost $1 million, and that's more than a Lamborghini. That's that's almost the same price as a Lamborghini. So I would say farming is pretty expensive, and it's a blue collar job. So you pay a lot of money to get it started, and you don't get a lot of money in return. Um, I feel like more people should get into farming because the farming industry is in big trouble right now due to lack of people and lack of work. Not a lot of people have that ethic anymore that people want to do stuff because a lot of people are lazy nowadays and don't want to do stuff. It's not like me though because uh, I couldn't do anything today though because I had a doctor's appointment for many things, including my back and my knee because I have a lot of back pains and a lot of knee pains. So I had to get some X-rays for that. But yeah, and then another one here that we have is what is like that's like the reality. I did a little bit of reality stuff. Here's another one. Have you had an animal escape? Yes, we actually have had an animal escape. We've had the cows break out of their pen before and absolutely run over our pool equipment. They ran through the fence back here on the back pasture, blew through the fence, and absolutely took out our fence. And then destroyed our pool stuff. Like the filtration system, a cow ran into it. Lovely. And then let's go to the next one here. What does your most chaotic day on the farm look like? So most chaotic day on the farm would look like probably a fire. If a fire ever breaks out on a combine, tractor, you name it, field fire, those are always really chaotic. I've experienced one field fire, two combine fires. They've all been contained and everything was fine, but we still use the combine today that had all those problems. It is a 671. I think it's a. Let me look at it. But we'll talk about that at the end. What type of model it is? What's the dumbest thing an animal has ever done? Oh, good lord! Probably the dumbest thing an animal has ever done on our farm is probably one of our turkeys. His name is Gobbles. We still have it. Was on top of the chicken coop. It's actually on my channel. If you go down to my shorts, you'll find me saying like Gobbles, what are you doing on top of the chicken coop again? I think that's exactly how I said it. But yeah, that's probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen one of our animals do. Um, what's the grossest farm moment you've ever had? I don't think farming is that gross. Probably, probably. It's kind of hard. Uh, Probably a chicken pooping in my hand. That was pretty disgusting. Um, what's the hardest lesson farming taught me? Ooh, take care of your machinery. Take care of your machinery or bad things go happen. What's the funniest thing that ever happened during harvest? Probably it was because of the dust. Um, but I showed up to the field one day after school, uh, jumped out of the semi, and was walking over to the combine, and so it was beans. So beans are always dusty, and I got out of the semi, and the combine was turning around, waited for me. I jumped up in there, and the dust just comes over the combine. I'm like, I had my shirt like this. It was literally like I was in a sandstorm, just trying to hide from the dust, and I was itchy for the rest of the night. That was terrible. Um, a day everything went wrong. So it was actually this harvest season. Um, like September 25th of this year. Um, we were harvesting first field of the year. We were harvesting, and it started downpouring with rain. Middle of the field, I was in the auger wagon. Combine driver gets out, looks up at the sky, and apparently there was a tornado 30 minutes away from where we were harvesting, and we just kept harvesting. But then we had to stop. We were the last ones keeping the elevator open. The elevator literally called us and said if we were gonna stop harvesting, they would close the elevator. We were the only ones keeping the elevator open, but later we tried again to cut, and it was just too sloppy. So we ended up stopping that day, put some fence in, and I actually smashed my finger with the hammer on the fence post, and my finger was purple for like a month. So yeah, it kind of sucked. And then, what's something people think about farming that's totally wrong? Um, it's cheap. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, let's see. We got another one here. How does farming actually work? So you really gotta have. It's really about the money thing. Like you really get into it with the family farm, which I don't have the family farm. So I start like my main farm when I'm 18, and it's really off of how much money you have to start with because you got to have your land. You don't even have to have a machine shed. You just need to have land, money, a harvester, a planter, and all the necessity things. You don't need a shed. You can ask a neighbor to store equipment in their shed. You can do all these different things, but you just start a farm. You have to have money and worth ethic. That's really all my advice to give on like what farming is really like. Like you got to get all that stuff, and then it's a lot of fun once you get started into it. It's a lot of fun. Um, what's a mistake I've made when I was in the field? Mistake I've made was in the field was I hit a sinkhole with the tractor. I was driving. It was nighttime. Well, no. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. I've made like a couple mistakes, but so we were doing unload on the go with the combine. We come up on this ditch. I pull out. The combine follows, and we're just stopped. The combine starts to back up and stops unloading and looks like it's going back to the row. So I just let off the clutch and let the tractor go forward. So I'm about to turn around and go back up to the semi. He wasn't done unloading. So we spilled a little bit of corn, but we're fine. Spilled a little bit of corn. Um, how did the fire happen whenever we this past harvest season? So it's really simple. It was really dusty that day, so we couldn't see really much in front of us. We sent there was a rock got into the draper head on the beam. No, it was actually the flex head. So the flex head is where it's like this, but if one side goes down like this side stays level, but it's always going to be level with the ground until a certain point. And but yeah, so how the fire started was the rock went through the flex head, went up into the feeder house, and then the feeder house leads to the chopper. So it went to the chopper, and you have those big metal blades spinning at fast rates. And it kicked off one of those rocks, and it sparked on bean dust, sent the bean dust into the field, and sent the rock into the field. We have yet to find the rock. Yeah, so that was. Not fun. That was not fun. Yeah, that's all I have for this podcast episode. I was pretty much just ranting on some ideas and some reality, like some questions that I've heard people talking about. So yeah. So thank y'all for tuning into this episode, episode 6 of the Power Shift podcast. This series will go for a long, long time. I don't think we'll ever be done with it. Yeah, so thank you all for tuning in this episode. Good night.